Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys another old school album review. And today we're going to be talking about one of the most interesting albums I've heard. And I've never really talked about this band or any of their albums ever on my channel. And as you can see by the title, today we're going to be talking about Bury Your Dead with their album It's Nothing Personal, which was their fourth album released in 2009 through Victory Records. Now, Bury Your Dead is a very interesting band. They're a band based out of Massachusetts, and they kind of like are a very interesting band because they cross over into a bunch of different genres. Like some people they would label them as hardcore, some people would label them as metalcore. For me, I feel like they're like a blend of the two, and I feel like this album really represents both sides. And this album, it's very interesting. It's like one of the most depressing albums with mood, but also very catchy at the same time. And this also is an album that, well, their fifth album is actually the last album with the one of their vocalists, Mike Terry. He would actually leave the band, of course, and now he's the singer for Volumes. Yeah, and I just think with Mike Terry, I think he brought in, especially with their previous album, which came out before that, the self-titled. I feel like Mike brings out like different sides to it. Like he has like that hardcore kind of grit, and he also has like a little of a melodicness to his voice, which I think is really stands out. And I feel like the whole melodic hardcore scene with the other bands that were slowly coming up at that time, like Ghost Inside and stuff, really just were showcasing. Um, and yeah, I just feel like this album. I feel like from a critic standpoint, some people would say that it can be repetitive, which I do disagree. I think they have a formula, but I feel like they worked so much with it and so much beyond that. And I'll just talk about like production is fantastic. The vocally Mike Terry, I just love just like the contrast of his voice. It just goes from like having just a hardcore kind of grit and yells to also having really just melodic side to his voice. And same thing with the guitar work from Slim and Towning. Like just both their guitar playing is really great. Just like they have like a sense of like rhythm and a lot of sense of melody and atmosphere to it. The bass wise from Aaron Bubble Patrick, who is also currently the bass player for All That Remains, it really shows well in the mix. And drumming wise, Mark Castello's drumming is pretty solid. So without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is Hurting Not Helping. Now, instantly you got riffs that lead you right in, and there's not much of a build up as like Mike Terry just goes in with his aggressive vocals, but then you also get like a very tender chorus, which I think really has an element of regret in the lyrics of the song. Like, I should have never brought you here. I should have told you right from the start to run. I should have never let you leave. I feel like some people would say like this could be a love song or something out of spite, just given like whatever interpretation you interpret it as. But I feel like this song really has a good flow to it. And then moving on to Without You. Now I feel like it really just continues that aura, and this song really has a bit of a slower tempo to it, and it's predominantly melodic vocally, and even there's some moments of aggression as Mike is letting notes sustain. And this song is, I feel like, really out of anger lyrically, and you could definitely hear it. And instrumentally, it also has some melody too. Um, Next song on the album is called Broken Body. Now, Broken Body is pretty much where the tempo is up here, and it really just picks up, and it's really catchy. And it also has that hardcore kind of grit, kind of like something from their older albums like Beauty and the Breakdown and stuff. And it's just killy catchy and in your face. Ace, and same thing with the riffs is also really in your ace. And this song is also really kind of night and day. You got like the toughest of the tough in the verses, and the chorus has a really kind of a somber and tender mood, and it just pulls you right in. And then going into The Great Demonizer. Now this song has some guitar hers with a little bit like pinch harmonics that just lead you in. It's very remarkable. It's so beautiful sounding, and I don't really think it's weird just like having a hardcore and just beautiful just combined. Just those two just don't go well in the same sentence. And this song really just has anger, which I believe is directed toward your to yourself, and the vocals here are interesting, and I don't really know if it's like screams or if it's really high pitched, and there's some atmospheric elements which makes it very kind of raw sounding. And the aggressive vocals also have a little bit of a whisper feel to it, which I really think is interesting with the vocals. um Next up is Dead End Love Song, and the lyrics in this song are just really just heart wrenching. It's just I'm a shell, fragments of a dream, pieces of a broken man is what remains of me. I feel like you just feel sorry for whoever this is about, and I really love it. It also has like a subtle use of instrumentals, which leads you right in, and it has a use of like suspense, and it really kicks in. It's very aggressive, and then you also have somber elements, which goes along with it. Um, Swan Songs, the next song, and this is, in my opinion, one of my favorite songs on the album. It also has a very static like intro and a very rhythmic build up, and then Mike just unleashes an insane growl, and it just pulls you right in. And it's like almost bracing yourself with the heavy sides of Bury Your Dead, but then it just takes you by surprise, in which this song is predominantly melodic, and it almost feels like the end of the song is just really just very remembering sounding. Um, Moving on to the next song, which is Lakota. Now, this song is just a complete night and day change from Swan Song, and this song pretty much has little to no melody, and when there is melody, it's mostly shined within the guitar work, and it just fully immerses you in with the atmosphere. And I know I keep saying atmosphere a lot, just please forgive me, guys, but Lakota also has a hardcore vocal style, and then when you get to the chorus, it has the melodic guitar that just really just sustains and just pulls you right in. um then we move on to The Forgotten. Now, this song features a guest appearance from Frankie Palmieri from Shitty Ass Samir. But anyway, I feel like with the guest vocals, I feel like Frankie just adjusts his vocal style. Also, it's not just a fucking deathcore song, but it's not too noticeable. But it just works fine, and it also has a very nice melodic guitar solo before returning into that hardcore grit. And I feel like it's a very relatable song, and I feel like it just talks about like a message behind it is like just having something just eating away at you, just pull it off, and the only way you could just get rid of like what's hurting you is just freaking let it go and throw it away. And I just think that's a really good message with The Forgotten. And then we get to The Lion's Den. Now, I feel like this is where you kind of get a little bit of optimism. I know I kind of just contradicted myself by saying that this album is very kind of like depressive sound thing and have a lot of like bleak and darkness to it. But I feel like this song is just like a break from that. It just takes you back and like the light to it, and it just kicks right in with sort of like hardcore vocals with some melodic guitars that backing it. And this is like the most, I guess, positive song on here, and the way that the melodic guitar leads you in before it returns to that kind of like hardcore grit is just and it just really just works well with the formula that they have. um and then Legacy of Ashes. Now, it just, when those riffs kick right in, it just goes right in your face. And I feel like the vocals kind of like surround you in that darkness. It just hits you right in the face. And the melodic vocals from Mike Terry just are really the focal point in this song. And it really has an element of hatred and also has a bit of an angsty vibe to it. And this song just kind of like pulls back with a melodic guitar, and it makes it atmospheric. Now, at this point, a lot of people would say that this album is definitely predictable, or there's some people definitely know what to expect next. But I feel like with the last two songs, I feel like they pretty much change it up. Like they're not done yet. And then we'll just talk about track 11, which is called Closed Eyes. Now, Closed Eyes, I almost consider it kind of like a sludgy kind of song. And it has a very much a raw element, and just Mike uses his voice to really just carry that aura, kind of similar to a Swan Song or any of the previous songs. And it just predominantly just a very melodic driven song, and on the vocal style, and really just the instrumentals are just very raw, and it's just a very slow tempo. And I think this is probably the longest song on here, or one of the longest songs. I'm not entirely sure, but this song also has a bit of a darkness kind of vibe to it. And then the last song on the album is called Enough. Now, Enough is only about a minute and a half long, and some people could argue and say that it's just an interlude song or just an outro song, but it's just pretty much a minute and a half long of just piano, which I think is a kind of like a different contrast. I thought it was pretty interesting that this album is just a hardcore metalcore album, and they would just end with a piano. No, which really makes it very interesting. It just has kind of like sets a different mood, which kind of ends weird. Now, overall, It's Nothing Personal by Barry Tomorrow is a classic album. A lot of people would label it like, some people would say there's also like the subgenres. Some people say there's depressive black metal, and then there's, I would call this like depressive not depressive hardcore. It has that hardcore, but also has that kind of bleakness to it and very dark vibes to it, which really makes it a good album. So overall, if I were to give this album a score, I'm going to give It's Nothing Personal by Bury Your Dead a solid 9 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review of the album, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.